right, and we're live. This is the Saturday afternoon podcast because it's a Saturday, it's an afternoon, it's a motherfucking podcast. Are you two guys watching? Oh, three guys now watching or doing. Thanks for watching this. If you're still on, please subscribe and share so I don't get sick and tired of doing this shit. Uh, so, as a guest, we have Luigi Costanza from Agree to Disagree. Are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Hello, everyone. What's up,
All
Joey?
right. Hi, hello, man. I'm doing good. Thank you. And from absolutely fucking nothing yet, Nikos Pidiktakis.
What's up, folks? How y'all doing?
First question. What dicks do I need to suck so you get a fucking podcast? Seriously, man.
Yeah, Nick, tell us.
I'm still very hesitant on the idea of starting a podcast. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm working full time from home, and what free time I have other things I have to deal with, maybe in the near or far future, but not. I have no intention to starting a podcast right now.
We are starting
right now.
Joey and I are starting a movement. This is enough ridiculousness.
Hashtag
Nicholas.
get Nikos a motherfucking podcast.
Yes,
No.
put it in the comments, guys.
This
Put it in the
world
comments.
deserve to be burned until Nikos doesn't get a podcast.
Okay, we need some people that don't have an opinion, that just have intelligence. That's what we need. We need more of that.
We need more smart people, not like fucking gimmicks or. No, I like it. I like this guy. Like, why? Like, I know you're busy, but just a monthly thing, just a month, once a month.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Oh
Just-
yeah, mouth is fucking, yeah. Okay, that thing actually shut while you're talking. Okay,
It's
cool.
okay, guys. It's okay, Nick, because off air I called Chateau Versailles, Place
Place
Versailles. I was talking about a trip to Paris that I did a few years ago. And
To like
Joe-
one of the worst malls here in Montreal, right? God damn it, man.
It's literally down my street.
Oh wait, I used to work in Rockland, okay, and you see they're trying to be like really classy and everything. But when I was working in Tivana, so basically my day that was like just doing samplings of free tea to a bunch of fucking welfare
What store
cases.
were you working in Rockland?
Tivana.
Oh, I used to shop there quite a lot.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
I also
okay.
I also
What happened?
remember. I think they feel. Well, I went there a few times to shop for tea. I go to the Starbucks there whenever I can. By the way, to anyone listening, and I think Luigi specifically would appreciate this, but if you guys want an awesome barber shop to go to, they opened up this new place, or like a second franchise of Jack Steele Le Barbier. That they have that at Rockland. Best ever haircuts I've ever gotten. Like haircut, they do the traditional shave, and they even do like moisturizing facials and black mask and all that stuff. So like, gentlemen, you want to take good care of yourself. Not a sponsored post by any stretch of the imagination, but go there. Jack Steele Le Barbier. Like,
All right.
you will not be disappointed, and you can do all your reservations online. None of this having to call them. Like, everything's online, as it should be in 2021.
Sounds awesome, but there's one thing though. It's a 1 hour bus drive and metro drive from where I live. So basically, it's a bit long just to get my hair cut.
Hold on,
And
Jerry. Where
Yeah,
do you
go
live,
on.
Joy? Where do you live?
I live in Verdun,
Verdun. Okay, I was going to
West
say.
Side, bitch.
Excuse me, Joey, but Ahuntsic Cartierville is where it's at, all right?
No,
I'm within spitting distance of Chabanel and Marché Central.
Yeah.
You got to. Yeah, you're close to Cafe Gentile. You're lucky. But
Oh, what a beautiful cafe.
Yes, it is.
Love
Yes,
the
it is.
coffee there.
Yeah, but I've got you both beat, guys. I'm in La Place Versailles. Pointe-aux-Trembles. How about that?
Wait,
Try to-
au Tremble.
Pointe-aux-Trembles. Le Bloc Québécois rules here, guys. We rule.
It's fucking awesome that you're flexing your fucking borough and everything. But I'm kind of an immigrant in Montreal. In case you didn't notice with the accent, but, like I just like I'm in Montreal for 5 years, so I don't know too much those fucking borough and everything.
Yeah. So imagine me, Mr. Anglophone immigrant in Pointe-aux-Trembles. Come on. I think
Yeah.
I'm literally the only guy that votes non-Bloc Québécois, okay? Literally.
all my life, dude. When I was in Bécomo, that's a really like Bloc Québécois region,
Mm,
and I vote once conservative. That was the last time I ever voted there, and then I went to Quebec City. I feel a bit more like at home,
mm,
Mhm.
but tough shit for me though. The
yeah,
moment I went there, there were that big wave of NDP supporters. So
yeah, I remember that in
Remember the Orange
2011.
Crush? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the time that my vote could have meant something or I could have won something that
yeah.
year. Fuck me, that's NDP. Like the
You know
same
that?
fucking people that voted ADQ and fucking conservative party.
So
Yeah.
I'm happy you brought that up because I didn't even have chance to discuss this with Nick when he was on my podcast on Thursday.
Cool.
Mm.
What are the odds? What does the NDP need to do again to be even relevant, let alone win a campaign? But what do they need to do to be relevant again? Because I really,
Hmm.
honestly, since Jack's death, ça va
But he
mal en
was
Oh
such
dedans.
a
yeah,
nice
no, no,
guy,
I
though.
feel you. I feel you. Like what I loved about Jack Layton, and I like thinking back, probably should have voted NDP that year as well. I think I may have voted
Hey,
Liberal,
dude. Hey, dude.
the Liberal Party in
Hey, do this.
2011.
Sorry.
Oh hey Kezia, how you doing? And hey Peter, what's up, buddy? I remember in 2011, like his authenticity was like it was radiating from him. He had a way of speaking to people that sort of appealed to everyone. Like even people who were on the conservatives, liberals, bloc. They said he had something to him that was authentic.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah.
for me being, I'd say a passionate Trekkie as well. I remember fondly seeing him wearing the Starfleet uniform from Star
Oh,
Trek: The
really?
Next
He did that?
Generation. Yeah, he did that with his wife Olivia Chow, and you actually see him like holding what they call the tricorder in Star Trek, where that's the scientific instrument that they use. Actually, let me show you. Let me show you. I got something here. Hold on. Hold on.
Cool.
He's
Okay.
got all
So,
his things.
I love all these guys passionate by all this stuff.
I know, and but we lost. Oh, there. Wow, that was quick.
Ah, he's back.
This thing.
Plastic box?
I remember that.
Oh, it's like a Game Boy, but cluttered with fucking button.
I think he was holding that, and he was holding something like this. This is the phaser pistol that they
Jesus
use.
Christ.
Yeah,
Wow.
like I found these things on eBay because I wanted to cosplay as like a Starfleet captain during Comic-Con a couple of times, and even at school, like at university. Like I came dressed as a Starfleet captain, and in one politics class, this one girl who was very shy was like, "What are you?" I'm like, "I'm a Starfleet captain, bitch."
Yeah, you look at the teacher and you're like, look at me.
No, the
Look at
professor
me. Hey, look at me. I'm a captain now.
No.
So
The
this
professor.
goes to prove that you could literally get anything on eBay or Amazon. Literally
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the battery contact in this was rusted out. So I'm gonna have to find like battery acid might have leaked onto it, but at least the phaser pistol still works. But it's a bitch to get the batteries out because of how tight they are in. And just to add to that little story about what happened to me in my class, the professor actually played she understood what was going on, and she actually called me Jean-Luc, as in Jean-Luc Picard, Sir Patrick Stewart's character, minus the bald cap and the
Captain
Shakespearean. Yeah. I'm here
So
to
that's
serve.
the
I'm here to.
closest you ever been to be a French guy. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, Skyflame 28. That girl was definitely a red shirt, totally expendable.
Red shirt, what does that mean?
Man.
You don't know what the red shirt phenomenon is? Okay, Joey.
First of all, I'm not a tricky.
Okay, no. Very quick lesson. So
Okay,
if you
cool.
remember
Listening.
watching Star Trek: The Original Series with William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, may he rest in peace, and of course James Doohan and everyone else. Whenever they went on what they called away missions, when they were going on a planet exploring something or dealing with something that happened, often at times they had I would say cast members wearing a red shirt, which was at that time security and operations, so like engineers, security personnel on the Enterprise.
Okay.
Often at times when they were on the away mission, because hey, Captain Kirk has to have plot armor, right? The red shirts would be the one that would die all the time. So
Yeah,
when
obviously,
people
that's their job.
say, yeah, so when people say you're a red shirt, that basically means you're expendable. Yeah.
Oh wow. But honestly, to give you an idea, like I'm not a tricky at all. Like the most time I know like George Takei more for his appearance at Howard Stern than actually his role in Star Trek. Just to give you an idea how not
Yeah.
a tricky I am at all.
Mm,
I
mm.
miss Mr. Spock.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
was.
wasn't. I wasn't a Trekkie. I used to watch it when I was younger, but
Is it the elf with the
Yep.
like
Yep. The
Michael
ears.
Ignatieff
The
bros going
ears.
on and the
The ears
Beatles
in this. The
yeah
ears in this.
and the Beatles haircut? Yeah,
Live
okay.
long and suck it, folks.
Oh really? That's
every time I do this, I always think of Nanu Nanu. Remember Robin Williams on what was the show?
I don't remember. I don't remember
Nanu.
that. I don't remember that.
Was
all
it
right.
Robin Williams that played on Morgan? What was Laverne and Shirley? Wasn't him? Robin Williams was a an alien on that show.
What?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Wow,
I
guys,
I
we're
don't
taking,
remember.
we're talking a way back. And Nanu Nanu, he was never mind, forget it.
Who is the
the
red
red
shirt of the Dirty Four?
Oh God. Oh,
who's expandable of the 34 is basically what he's asking.
Okay, guys,
Joey,
there's a thing
we'll
you
make
need to
you answer
notice.
it.
For like 8 billion people on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, we all Richards. We all Richards. Like, we're just like
Sadly.
spinning on that little ball. Like, I don't care if David White's watching and he's mad just because I said that. I'm as dumb as a rocket scientist. So, yeah, we're just that little marble spinning around a big giant ball of fire. And
Yep.
and just that on the size of the a scale of the universe, it's nothing. So it's like we
Yep.
all Richards. We all Richards. So
Yep.
that's the best politician answer I could come up with just to avoid to say Victoria. Okay.
Well, luckily- Oh, shit.
That's
Shots
went
have been fired. Oh my
that went
God.
from
Shots
heavy
fired.
nihilism to
Oh,
Victoria.
man.
Victoria.
I was convinced if he
man.
was going to go that avenue, Nick, I was convinced he was going to go on the Claudio Avenue, but I can't. I
I,
can't.
I
because-
thought so too. I thought so too.
That's
Oh,
the
man.
that's
So-
the first lesson in comedy. Surprise.
surprise. So
There,
I can see
Alessandro,
that.
Oh, hey man, I don't know what the Declan fans from 2020 official is, but if you didn't subscribe, please subscribe.
all right. So Alessandro says Mork and Mindy, it's a Happy Day spinoff. So I was right. It was Mork and Mindy. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. You see?
Mhm.
And they had the character Robin Williams. I forgot his name, but he was an alien. And anyway, he typically did his Robin Williams thing, and it was the Nano Nano, and it was whatever.
What do you mean,
Mm.
like his comedies thing, or
Yeah, he
hanging
was- yeah.
himself to a doorknob?
Mm.
No, he was. Oh shit! I just ran right into that one. Eh? I just
know,
ran
right?
right into. Yeah. No. It was pretty funny, and actually was I think one of his first. I think it was his first acting gig, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Was Mork and Mindy. Yeah, I mean we're talking about. It was a Happy Day spinoff, so we're talking about at least what, 50 years ago, if not more.
I already
Anyway.
subscribed. Thanks, guys.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Thanks, the clan.
So
Excellent.
guys, just because I need to know.
Go on.
So
Yeah.
any I mean, look, everyone knows, everyone loved, like Nicholas says, and Joey was saying too, everyone loved Jack Layton, and he was that one person that could have made a difference. But do you see anything happening right now with the NDP? Do you see anybody else becoming relevant besides the conservatives and the liberals on the federal level? And is Jack Meat, first of all, the one to do it? Nothing against the guy, but I mean, there's just I just see liberal prostrate and
Yeah. Well, if I could sort of answer that question a little bit, Luigi, honestly, like this is how like the liberals have been so successful for so long. It's often the political adage that they always campaign like the NDP but govern like the conservatives.
Pretty
They
much.
because they are so well positioned in what we would call the center
Yeah.
of Canadian political life that they have the ability to swing to the left and then swing to the right when they need to from time to time.
And
They were-
and to add to that, they're kind of
Yeah.
like the second choice of like if you're an NDP,
Yeah.
and you don't like your leader for some reason, you can vote liberal without feeling like a whore. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing if you're conservative. Like let's say if it wasn't from Trudeau, last election, the election he was elected, I would have voted for the Liberals, but I didn't
Yeah,
because fuck Trudeau.
yeah.
Go,
Yeah,
keep going, man.
No, to say that, like again, they govern from they govern themselves as conservatives from time to time, but they campaign as NDP.
Yeah,
Jack Layton truly was a one-off
yeah,
in the 2011 elections. As well, we have to remember the fact that a lot of Canadians were turned off by this sort of sense of inevitability that Michael Ignatieff, who was the Liberal leader at the time, the
yeah.
former academic. Nothing against him. I mean, I should read some of his books that he wrote before, because he really got into a lot of deep stuff. That's for sure. And we shouldn't
Hmm.
sort of negate his accomplishments on that. But
Oh,
his
for
sense of
sure. But he
inevitability
kind of
and
came across like being a bit
yeah,
over
yeah,
everybody and that stuff. And
yeah,
right after Stéphane Dion, I'm not sure that was the brightest choice.
yeah. I
Mm.
still think that the Liberals may have done a little better, or they may have had a little more success or a lot less controversy if they would have had Marc Garneau as a
Yeah.
leader, because
mhm,
he was the only one who had even remotely the level of star power that could have competed with Justin Trudeau. I mean, despite the fact that I no longer like the Liberals at all, though they could certainly change my mind if they actually change their policy platform
Yeah, for
on a
sure.
wide variety of things.
Hmm.
I mean, Marc Garneau, I still have a lot of respect for him because he's Canada's first astronaut. He did a lot, like, you know, he certainly confronted space, which is the final frontier. Again, live long and prosper, folks. So he certainly still has that respect for me in that regard. And I've met him a couple of times in NDG Westbound. He's a pretty,
I'm into
he's a,
that.
yeah,
Dion was a
uh,
bitch.
yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Dion, oh goodness. Okay, so Stéphane Dion. For those who don't remember, Stéphane Dion first was the liberal representative in Ville Saint Laurent, next to Huntsic Cartierville, for since like right after the second referendum, because he was brought in initially to help with the issue of like the Clarity Act, which
yeah,
says,
Hmm.
hey, any referendum questions, they have to be very clear in their intention. None of the uncertainty and the weirdly worded question that they had in
Yeah.
1995. So he was brought in initially for his expertise on intergovernmental affairs, which is to define that how the federal government and the provincial government sort of work on a lot of things like healthcare and education, for example, given the structure and like all that. So after he was brought in on that, he was given a few other portfolios as well. And when, of course, when in 2006 the Liberals finally lost power to the Conservatives when they got their first minority from 2006 to 2008, he would like Stéphane Dion was brought in as the Liberal leader, and he was too much of an academic. Again, he had
Yeah.
a lot of like right ideas. It's just the execution and the sort of propagation of those ideas through the campaign and through media appearances. It just did not resonate with Canadians who still were by and large turned off to them, given what happened with the sponsorship scandal,
Exactly.
as
So
like
I did
Luigi
believe
probably would know.
going for
Yeah,
that kind of candidate at that precise moment when they were going off from such scandal and everything, that was
yeah,
a dumb idea because the guy kind of came across, and Ignatieff, that was the same problem, kind of came
yeah,
across like being an establishment liberal.
yeah.
So
but
that was even worse.
see, but here's the thing, though. With the rise of popularism politics, at what point do we say, even if this guy is or this person, excuse me, not guy, I don't want to offend the women. There's two genders.
Please do offend them. They need to
Yeah.
be back
Okay.
in line.
So
They have
here
been
is
going crazy for way too long.
we always exactly we always
Sorry.
say that we want change in politics, right?
Yeah.
So why are we so quick to shit on a unpolished politician that could be a an intellect that maybe comes across as having his nose up in the air or her nose up in the air or too intelligent for the general population? It just needs a little bit of. But if they
Yeah,
have good
maybe
ideas,
they were too polished though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came across as being fake.
Hmm.
See, so
Yeah.
yeah,
that's another problem. If you come across as too polished and too, because like history, they always have those populist movement. Like think like in the 18th century, being a liberal, like what it meant, that was populism. Like when you propose the idea that
Hmm.
people should be able to vote, have free speech and everything, Back
Yep.
then, that was what that was popularism because they were against like royalties and everything.
Yeah.
So it's just the story repeating itself.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen a rise of it even pre Trump, but
Yeah.
comes to mind Italy, France, Sweden, I believe,
Mhm.
um, which they
Greece
would
had
consider.
Greece had this unfortunately, and unfortunately with what they call Christia V, or the Golden Dawn
Oh yeah.
neo-Nazi party. I know that they had a similar issue with like the Five Star movement
Mhm.
in Italy, and of course we all saw very recently France had a flare up of it with Le Front National with Marine Le Pen as well, and
Yeah,
even
What
coming
some
in
what
the second turn.
what happened?
yeah.
Yeah, guys,
Yeah.
where is that at? I'd love to have a suivi. What is going on in France right now with Marie Le Pen?
I honestly don't know.
Right now with Marine Le Pen, I'm not sure, but what was surprising is usually like the election is being played among socialists and the UMP, like the more center right party. That
Mhm.
was the
Sarkozy's
party.
party.
The excuse me.
Sarkozy's party.
Exactly, Sarkozy, Jacques
Yep.
Chirac, that kind of guy. So the center right party, basically, so more like closer to the establishment. But
Yep.
what happened last election? It's first Emmanuel Macron doesn't come from any of the traditional party. He pretty
Yep.
much built a movement himself, and his opponent was Marine Le Pen.
Yep.
And the reason why people voted for Macron, and it's kind of weird to me that people would vote for Macron considering like the rise of populism, because the guy is like really like everything you would imagine a politician to be like. He's well polished, he's well spoken, but it's too much. You feel there's artifice behind it.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
absolutely.
but when I spoke to some friend I have from France, and I'm not proud saying that I have friends from there, but
Vive la
uh,
France.
vive la France. But if you have speaking to these guys, I've noticed like they were just everybody has scandals back then, even Le Pen, and they were fed up of all the scandals and the political fuckery, so they just went into, you know what? Let's give the kid a chance.
Yeah. I think
Mm.
even the past Francois Hollande, I think his name was, the past president. Like even he got into like a womanizing
Yeah,
scandal with mistresses going on bikes and all that. And like in France,
I don't
everyone
mind
was
that.
like, do whatever you want, just don't let it compromise your objective ability to govern
Exactly.
properly and ethically and morally. Whatever
Bill,
you
yeah,
do in the
Bill
like,
Clinton did it.
yeah. Then again, you have to understand in France and in many European cultures, they're far more, I would say, open minded or liberal about
yeah.
that. While in the United States, largely, there's still that Puritanism and that expectation
Mm.
that the president is the paragon of moral and virtue for the whole people of the United States. So that's
Yeah.
why like a lot of
M-
Americans are like,
m-
what is going on? It's so
yeah.
scandalous.
It's scandalous. Meanwhile, the number one song in the United States is "Wet Pussy" from
Wet
Cardi
wet
B.
ass. Yep.
But that's
Wet
pussy.
ass
WAP.
Yeah.
pussy.
WAP.
Come on, they
Yep.
give off of that image that we're churchgoers and we're Puritans. Get out of here. Feed that
But in
bullshit to someone that'll believe you. Come
exactly.
on.
But the thing that's
Mm.
weird also is like in France back then, if we can make a mise en contexte.
Mhm.
So basically,
Mettez-nous en contexte, s'il vous plaît.
mise en context, basically what happened, it should have been Strauss-Kahn at this place, and this guy was a like black belt of womanizing, if you remember, Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Yeah,
Oh
like
wait, the IMF guy you're talking about,
oh,
right?
yeah, basically, like he got caught
Yes.
into not just a sex scandal, but rape, which is a pretty good line to be drawn as far as like womanizing go. But like people knew him for being a serial womanizer and fucking around, so that wasn't a problem up until like that thing that happened in New York where we were talking about rape. So basically he just got given the boot of being the socialist candidate to the presidency of France. And basically, what happened to François Hollande is basically what happened to Louis the 16th, because like it wasn't supposed to be him. Usually, François Hollande is more like a backstage guy that was kind of from what I understood, the chairman of the Socialist Party.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
then he just got like on stage by accident, like by the events.
Hmm.
Hmm,
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
But when I think about no one could top in terms of womenizing politicians than my ex prime minister of Italy, Silvio
Oh,
Oh,
Berlusconi. Guys, we're
Berlusconi.
talking about
Oh
toga
my.
parties. We're talking about
Yeah.
Jesus
orgies.
Yeah.
Christ.
We're
Yeah.
talking about
Oh
controlling the
my.
media
Oh.
from top to bottom because he owned the biggest media company while being still prime minister.
I
You
mean,
gotta love the guy. Come on.
this guy didn't give a fuck.
Shit.
Like, he didn't give a flying
Didn't even,
fuck. Like, I
didn't even
remember like
pretend.
reading a quote from him in a
Yeah.
French
Yeah.
journal, and I burst out of laughter because it was when he had that sex scandal with that 17 years old, and he
Mm.
said, "I'd rather be caught in that kind of scandal than being gay." I'm
Oh,
like,
what a
wow.
legend.
Guys,
What a
my
legend.
my
Oh yeah.
my my cousin's husband summed it up perfectly, and I'm going to share. I'm going to say it in Italian first. My last trip to Italy, and I asked him. I said, "Can you just explain to me what the fuck is going on in Italian politics?" Was his answer. I'm going to say it in Italian first. He goes, "È semplice. It's simple.
Mm.
Italia non funziona." He said,
What's
"Italy
your
doesn't work. It doesn't function. That's it.
ah?
Non funziona."
Was it,
Oh.
oh
He's
yeah, I
like,
remember the
he's
word
like,
puzzle for working. Okay.
yeah, he's just like, this there's nothing to do, Luigi. Just don't try to understand this. Yeah, yeah, forget it. It's over.
It's
Italy
Yeah.
non funziona. It always stayed in my mind. I love it. Italy doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's kind of remind me of old when I was to university, like in comparative politics, there were
Mhm.
that teacher that told me like the north and south is two different country. Like in
Yeah.
the north, if
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you apply for a driving license, you'll have it really fast. In the south, you might need to get extra money out of it, like on the table.
Well, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure probably Nick will agree with me on this, or will understand it a little bit more, being from Greek descent. Is that there's always been this disconnect between North and South, is because everyone doesn't. I mean, if you look back at the history of Italy, Sicily was Sicily before Italy was Italy.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Sicily was the last one to get into the Confederation of Italy. So Sicily
Oh, shit.
had been for thousands of years in civilizations and been conquered by so many. So the North has always looked upon Sicily as the toilet bowl, as the farmers, as the poor, as the laborers, where all the industry has been in the North, right? So there's
Yeah.
always been that disconnect, and it'll always be, right? There was even talk of separation, here and there, but I don't think that'll ever happen. So yes, it definitely exists, Joey. It definitely does.
Yeah, like you can see Italy, it's fucking look like a boot, and he's trying to give a kick to fucking Sicily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to my beautiful little island. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, to my beautiful little island. But it's okay.
It's okay.
That's it. They're simple people, which I love. So hopefully
Same.
I'll have my retirement there.
Oh,
Hopefully.
really?
Oh yeah,
Have you
definitely.
you've been there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and how is it? Is it cool? Because when we think of Sicily, it's always because of the mafia, and
Yes.
like the '90s, it was really a hot spot. So, can you talk to us more about it?
Unfortunately, it's always been has that black behind
Mark.
it, because of that black mark behind it. But ever
Yeah.
since they killed they killed the famous magistrates, Palermo, in Palermo, near Palermo, where they blew up the bridge. I don't know if you know the story.
Yeah.
They blew up a bridge just to get two magistrates that were fighting the mafia, Borsellino and Falcone. They were the last names, and I actually drove and I went and see so they couldn't get to him, right, because he was one of the most guarded persons in Italy,
Yeah.
and the mafia wanted to kill him. They blew up a bridge
To get him.
to get him.
Fuck. And I'm watching Godfather, when I watch them like just shooting like all a city worth of bullet in just one guy, I thought that was far fetched. Shit.
No, that was I believe that was Borsellino and Falcone, or vice versa. They got him going and visit his mother and coming out of his mother's house.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they turn him into a Swiss cheese, basically.
Pretty much. And so basically that was really the catalyst that turned the things around, that started the revolution of the Sicilians saying this is enough, where businesses started saying, no, I'm not paying protection money for my business anymore. And people started feeling that they had the courage
Stand up
to stand
the
up to it. Imagine one of the
Costanza.
first
Yeah.
businesses in Sicily to do this was a gentleman that had a pastry bakery shop cafe,
Yeah.
and he, believe it or not, he was one of the first. So they started giving him warnings that they had started making stickers, and they put it in front of the windows at the entrance, and no pizzi, which means I'm not paying protection money.
Ah. Yeah.
So this is and basically he had to go into hiding. The business is still run by his family, but he is still in hiding today.
Oh fuck.
He was one of the
Damn.
first ones that had the courage to do it, and he is, last that I heard, which was a couple of years ago, I watched uh, uh, some sort of show or biography on it, and he is still on. He was still in hiding.
That's interesting. That's one of those cases when you see like the one opening the door for the other one, maybe not the first one to get through, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was got to the point that they killed his dog and his cat, and they said, "You're next," or
Jesus
one
Christ.
of your kids is next. So that's when he decided to leave, and it stayed in the family. And anyway, so that movement started, and now they're just, it's a very ancient land, guys. They're very set in their ways, but
Yeah,
they're
it's an
trying.
island.
I can
So
imagine.
obviously
I
like
can
the
imagine.
yeah.
It's an island, and
Like on
it's
the
very,
like on the island of Crete in
that's
Greece, for
exactly
example,
it,
is the
Nick.
exact same
That's
way,
exactly
yeah.
Nick. You could probably
Oh
relate,
really?
right?
Like
So
Crete, they have the same problem?
Well, not so much in terms of like organized crime, but in terms of being very set in their ways. Yeah, like when I'm with Greek friends, for example, and I say, "Yeah, I'm from the island of Crete," they're like, "Okay, yeah, you're the crazy one,"
mm,
automatically. But
Okay.
I embrace the crazy from time to time.
yeah. So now,
Ah, that remind me. Excuse me to
no problem.
go into that tangent, but that remind me like I've watched
Yeah.
a documentary about the invasion of Greece during World War II. Like apparently in Crete, that was so fucking long that might have caused the success
Yep.
of the USSR invasion.
Yep. No, you're absolutely true. The Greek resistance during the Second World War was legendary.
Yeah,
They like I heard stories from my mom talking about how like my grandparents are there and my great grandparents, how they found rifles from German soldiers who were coming in because they were coming in from the sky from like
yeah,
paratroopers that
and they
were sort of
stopped doing
dropping
it
in.
right after because
Yeah,
they noticed it wasn't working as well as they expected.
they kept like the people in Crete kept shooting them down
Yeah,
left and right. It was a bloodbath for the Germans who were trying to get at Crete, because you see where Crete is in relation to the rest of the Mediterranean.
yes,
You get Suda Bay and a couple of the other areas. You're very geostrategically positioned to get at
Yeah.
like the Suez Canal and other main assets in
Mhm.
that part. So I get it from a military perspective, but like the people were not having it, and all power
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah, that's, yeah, I know that is legendary. That is totally legendary. But there's just to get back to, you see, there's a special place in my heart for both of my parents are Sicilian, and it's just the problem right now is the economy. Right, there is no economy in Sicily besides Palermo and some of the big cities. So there's the brain drain, and a lot of the youngsters leaving these small towns, and these small towns are literally losing their population, literally. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have heard
Yeah.
about it. Some of the mayors to say how we're going to
Yeah.
get people here. They're selling homes for €1.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah, my girlfriend has been nagging me, so we buy a house. So
Yeah.
I'm going to keep touch a little bit with her.
So I don't know if you
Yeah.
know, you guys are. I'm sure you guys are Goodfellas fans or Sopranos.
Goodfellas. Well, I'm friend with Claudio, so even though I never, I watched it a couple of times,
Okay.
but even
I've
though
never
I
watched it.
never watched the movie, can be sure you can bet your ass that I would have learned all the fucking quotes from
Yeah.
Claudio
So-
before watching it.
So
I've never watched it.
Lorraine Bracco, which
Oh
plays
shit, you never watched it?
No.
so Lorraine Bracco, who played the girlfriend in Goodfellas and played Dr. Melfi in The Sopranos.
Yeah.
She's a Hollywood actress. Her father is Sicilian descent, and when she heard about this, she actually bought a house in Sambuca di Sicilia, which is about 45 minutes away from my parents' hometown, and
shit.
restored it. And she brought the show, and she made a 4-episode thing with HGTV.
Oh, that's
Nice.
So
cool.
it's Yeah, it was really really nice, really really nice. So there is that challenge of how to keep the youngsters that are looking for work from going up north to Milan and to Rome
Yeah.
and to Florence and to Palermo and within Sicily. So that is an ongoing, but there is some sort of renaissance coming back now that the third, fourth, and generations are starting to stay in Sicily and taking over agricultural jobs and modernizing the vineyards and vegetable growing and stuff that we're known for.
Yeah.
So there is some sort of a renaissance of that pride of, because there's always that pride of being Sicilian. So I'm
Mm.
hoping that
Huh,
that
that's
it's
interesting.
enough, because for me it's a very very special place. And
I'm
like I said
I'm
before,
betting that the low rent might have helped also.
pretty
Yeah.
much yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you live in
Yeah.
Milan and you don't have like a good prospect for a job, fuck it, just leave because that must be like so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
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 I think
So it
one
is.
I
Yeah.
I've seen, to sort of touch on to what Luigi said in terms of keeping people in those small towns. Like if let's say rents are affordable, energy is cheap, and as well right now if you can get like high speed like reliable high speed internet to go to those small
Yeah.
towns, um, I would potentially see myself moving into such a small town so that I could do all of my remote work. All I need is my work computer, an internet connection, reliable energy, and I'm good.
Yeah,
Like that.
that is an issue, Nicholas. It is, because I mean I was there 2 years ago, and that is an issue. That is an issue to get back to something as simple as that, and that's an issue a lot in other areas, right? To remote areas, even within Quebec or within Canada,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bringing that, because literally that investment in telecom could make such a huge difference for
Yeah.
cities, for villages. Well, not cities,
Yeah.
but villages. Because I mean, you guys wouldn't even believe how small my village is. You could literally take a picture with your phone of the
But
village.
that's fucking
I
great,
believe you.
actually.
It is,
I
and I
believe you.
and I love it.
I believe
I
you.
love the
Like,
simplicity.
yeah,
Um,
all the time
I
I spent in Bécamo, I wished I was in a big city. Now I'm in a big city. I'm like, people here are fucking
yeah,
assholes. Like the rent is way too expensive. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'd like it to just move out. Like my girlfriend and I were thinking about moving out. If we have at the moment we have a car, we're fucking out of Montreal. To be
Mm.
honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No. As long, like I definitely agree. Like the telecom definitely needs to be looked into, but as well, public transit or just transit in general, and making sure that that infrastructure is modern and sustainable for the near and long term. Like that is what you need. Like again, if we can get like more high speed rail and more fast buses all over like Quebec, like I wouldn't like if let's say I could take a high speed rail to Toronto, I wouldn't have to spend all that time going to the airport. I would actually take the train instead of having to do like a 5 hour long ride. It would take like 2.5 hours. If let's say we had
Yeah.
like the Hyperloop, I think it's called, with Elon Musk.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. The Hyperloop. That's great. Guys, I just want, what, I just think I'm gonna share a story with you guys, because this
Yeah.
is
Go
too
on.
good. Real quick story. I don't know if you, Joey. I don't know if you guys know this. The French journal show GE.
Gia.
GE, is that it? GE,
It's
right?
the French show where
Investigation,
they do inquiries.
investigative pieces.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
basically, yeah, Gia.
So they GE, c'est ça. So they wanted to do a thing on how the Rizzutos still had power, even though after Vito was dead
Yeah.
and Nicholas was dead, that the mafia still has power here in Montreal. So at one point they went back to Sicily and my parents' hometown, which is the birthplace of the Rizzutos, which is Cattolica Ereclea in the Agrigento region. And
Holy shit.
yeah, they actually went. Okay, but this is real quick. So
Oh
he's
boy.
filming. Yeah. Did they get there? You have to understand that, first of all, the Rizzuto family gave a lot of money to this little town, right?
ML.
So
Hey, Melanie.
they're not looked upon the same way as they are here, right? Because they're heroes
Mhm.
there. So at one point, I don't know why, they go to the cemetery where my grandparents are buried, and they're at the entrance of the cemetery, and you can't get in unless it's open or there's the gatekeeper. And they're in their car, and one of them, I remember him, he says somebody, he goes, il y a quelqu'un qui est juste à côté. And at this point, the camera's in the middle of it, facing down. He goes, puis on sentait qu'on n'était plus le bienvenu. That was it. They lasted 45 minutes in this little town and they left. But
Oh,
when he
yeah.
said on sentait qu'on n'était pas le bienvenu,
Oh,
shit, did I laugh.
Yikes!
jerks. Not being welcome in that kind of town. That's not exactly the same thing of not being welcome in Montreal, for example.
Not at all. Because
Yeah.
listen, if it could have happened to me, imagine these. I went 2 years ago, 4 years ago. I went to my sister's, okay, to celebrate my eldest sister beating cancer. So it was always our dream to go back to our hometown together. And I have 4 sisters, and we did. We went back. So the first night we're there, staying at my uncle's house. My uncle's not there. He had passed away, but the house was empty. Anyway, we're staying there. I'm getting ready. So I said, of course, I'm the only boy. Guys, I'm ready. I'm going to go wait outside. And whenever you're ready, we'll walk to the piazza and have our coffee, whatever.
Sure.
So it's about 4 or 5 p.m. in the evening. I get out and I'm just walking the streets and I'm just taking it all in. It's just very old town and I just absolutely love it. And I'm looking around and he says, and I just hear Tuki say, who are you? Guys, I swear to God, I'm looking around. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm hearing voices. So finally I look up. I'm like, and the balcony, she's like, I go, parla con me. I go, you talking to me? She goes, yes. I go, so me being the smartest that I am. I look at her, I'm like, who are you? Imagine. So
Oh yeah, fuck.
right away, like an outsider, and I'm like,
town, everybody knows everybody. So
right away, Joey, I'm an outsider because she had probably, I haven't been there since I was a kid prior to this trip. So she's like, I go, I'm Salvatore's nephew, and I'm staying at his house right here on the street. Oh, okay, bello man. And then obviously, right, everything's okay, right? So it's just it's let's put it this way: if you want to go to the small town and try to rob or do something in there, you're not gonna last long. You're not gonna last long because before the cops get you, someone else will get you. Trust me.
I'm pretty sure that also stemmed from the fact that since it's Sicily, you must have like a bunch of fucking tourists that just go around and search for mafia shit, and people that live in those towns are getting sick and tired of fucking tourists asking them questions about the mafia.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can imagine.
Absolutely. Especially when you when you have the famous sign, because it was in the book, right? The book that they wrote about the Rezzitos, the Benvenuti a Cattolica e Reclea. There's actually bullet holes in the sign.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see the kind of evidence.
I love my little town. I love it. No one's gonna come and bother me there. That's for sure.
Fucking awesome.
It's the fucking best, Joey. I love it.
Is there any free house left there?
Yeah, they haven't done it yet. Not in ours. They should, because I had this conversation with my dad the other day. I'm like, Dad, why aren't they doing it? Because it's dying and it's breaking my heart. Because just to give you some statistics, year round the population, my uncle says 3,000. I think he's being generous at 3,000.
Yeah.
But in summer, at the peak, it could get up to 12,000.
Oh, okay, because of the tourists.
Wow.
Because everybody comes back. Well, they're not really tourists. They're all Sicilians living in England, in France, in Germany, and they all come back for summer.
Okay.
They all have their homes there. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking cool.
Yeah. So.
And you, Nikos, you have been to Greece recently?
The most recent time I went was in 2017 in the winter.
Enough?
Well, aside from Athens, like I visited like my small town of Sitia on the eastern side of Crete. I had an amazing time there, seeing my family. I was there just with my dad. We just did a lot of like I wouldn't say like the tourist thing, because I kind of don't feel like a tourist since I'm going back to Greece and I'm Greek myself. But no, like seeing some of the ruins and like monuments and all that stuff in Athens. I got to there's actually a place. There's a little restaurant, like a little recommendation for anyone who goes to Athens. It's about 5 to 10 minutes on foot away from what they call Syntagma Square, which is Constitution Square, where the Hellenic Parliament is, and that's where all the protests happen. Just to let you know on that.
Is there many of those?
I haven't heard of any major protests happening in Greece as of late.
Yeah,
things seem to be a bit back in the day when the height of the austerity measures. To be expected that there are going to be like large protests that people throwing Molotov cocktails and everything else at police and at government building and other things. But when I was there the last time, I went to this restaurant called Pidiktakis, where they
Mhm.
sell, like the souvlaki and the gyro wraps. Like they make one gyro wrap to go in 20 seconds. That's how
Mm,
quick they are.
amazing.
And
Shit.
that restaurant has been there since 1879. Just to
That's
let you know
Wow.
how
amazing.
long. Oh yeah,
They have
So
a long
I have a
story.
question for you, Nick. Do
yeah.
you think, and maybe Joey, obviously for you too, do you think the fuckery that is Italian and Greek politics, do you think they will ever fix their shit up? I really, I don't, because I see it this way. I see that they function in the dysfunctionality. I don't ever see it changing
I
because
th-
I know you Greece is just as bad as Italy.
yeah.
Um, I this I don't know. I don't ever see it changing because, like I said, I just think that they function in their disastrous ways, and they just
Mhm.
for whatever reason they just keep plowing on. And
Yeah, I was about to ask you about like since you're Greek, how you saw the whole austerity measures in Greece and everything. I know you're a libertarian, so obviously the axiom would be slash everywhere, but I'm pretty sure you have a little nuance there.
Look, listen. What happened in Greece in terms of just how much debt was piled on by both main parties, PASOK, which is the Pan-Hellenic Socialist Movement, the main center-left party, and Nea Demokratia, or New Democracy, which is the main center-right party, which is the current party in power with that Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. So I'm very impressed by, and also the guy that had that shirtless, shot of him taking the COVID vaccine, which caused a lot of women to sort of cry. I'm like, oh wow, such a hot guy. That's what they were saying. I
yeah, that
was
works
laughing.
well.
I was laughing at that. We needed that. Um, what happened in Greece was that a lot of people who already had so little in terms of their pensions, or like what
Mm,
little they had in terms of their jobs, was slashed to a point. It's not like using a scalpel. I'm like taking a lightsaber and cutting it all
Yeah,
down. The suicide rate of people in Greece skyrocketed during the height of the austerity measures.
Not to
Like
mention,
I,
shit.
Nick, if I could just add something, Nick, in Italy and in Greece, I'm sure not only that, but imagine how much they lost when they transferred over from the lira in Italy, and what was
yeah,
the currency. So
drachma,
already
drachma.
already there, Joey, they lost I don't know how much money just in the transferring from going from the lira, for
Mm.
example, or the drachma to the euro was
Oh,
Yeah,
already.
really?
Oh yes, absolutely. It was already a
yeah,
disaster in itself for them.
yeah,
So add on
yeah.
austerity measures in Greece.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know how they could.
Yeah, and the economy seems to be really dependent on the government. So if you apply austerity measures on such economy, they're basically fuck. It's like choose
Yeah,
death by what, right? Like
like
either you
like
wait the debt to pile on, or you slash and you fuck your economy because your economy wasn't standing by itself.
like the economy was propped up on like three or four things. First, like the government itself and all of
Yeah.
these non jobs, that all of these jobs that were being offered left and right as favors for saying thank you for voting for me on both
Oh wow.
parties. Like that kind of corruption, where jobs were all
But was
monitored.
it such a large scale, though?
It was on such a large scale, Joey.
Oh
This
fuck.
is stuff. This is stuff that my dad, who was far more well versed in it because of language issues. My dad was actually born in Greece and actually left Greece during the height of what they called the regime of the colonels,
Mm-hmm.
from 1967 to 74, which was like the main anti-communist regime. So he let my dad, his younger sister, and my grandparents, who thank goodness they got vaccinated fully with both shots, and that they're still doing okay to this day. So thank goodness for that.
Nice shit.
Yeah. So like going back to what I wanted to say about the government itself. Was doing a lot of fuckery in that sense, in terms of like people getting jobs doing nothing basically and getting paid a lot. Tourism, obviously, because who wouldn't want to go visit Greece and see all the ruins? Who wouldn't? So
For sure.
tourism, trade. We all know, Onassis and a few other magnets, like the shipping magnets, are from Greece. Like the
Okay.
Greek shipping is insane in terms of the scale and in terms of their operations, and that even the Chinese still, despite their fuckery, they still need Greek shipping infrastructure to get their products around the world. So you have
Interesting.
shipping,
So that I
tourism,
didn't know.
and
I didn't
and
know that either.
uh, also agriculture, because who wouldn't want to have their
Yeah.
feta cheese? Who wouldn't want to have Greek olive oil, which
Olive
is
oil.
objective,
Mm.
get considered the best objectively, not in terms of like the quantity, because I know that Italy and Spain produce far more in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, all Greek olive oil is the best.
I might debate you
Uh,
on that in another podcast, but
wow.
Eh, 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 eh,
Honestly,
eh, eh,
I didn't use a glass of wine and pour myself olive oil and test it, so I'm not planning to do that. I'm just gonna like stay
Joey,
out of the fucking arguments.
Joey, let me
I just say
honestly,
butter is better.
I agree with Nick. First of all, one thing we're going to agree on: you cannot compare Greek or Italian olive oil to anything in the world. I remember doing a wine tasting in Tuscany, guys. I'll never forget this. Probably, if you can ask me, what was the best day of your life? This was it. So we went to a wine tasting in Tuscany, and this vineyard produced wine, of course, and olive oil. So we had we tried all kinds of truffled oil, and that day I don't know how much wine. I was plastered out of my mind under the beautiful sun out in the country, and just dipping a little bit crackers and bread in this olive oil. Guys, I can't even.
it, it's good for the heart health. Like
Yep.
some very heart health conscious people, like they literally just take they dip a little bit of olive oil into a tablespoon, drink it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You see,
Yeah.
That
this is the thing, Joy. This and maybe Nick will give me his perspective in Greece.
Hmm.
When I was having this discussion with my family when I was back 2 years ago when I was in Italy, and I was like, guys, can you just explain to me what is going on politically? He says, Luigi, there's a distrust from the people in regards to politicians. I said, but guys, I understand,
Which
but in
is healthy.
which
healthy, yeah.
yes, but Joey, they take it to another level though, Joey. You
Cool.
understand?
I like these guys already. Go
Oh
on.
yeah, for sure. The population is here. We have no choice, or we have to pay taxes. We got to pay
Yeah.
taxes
Yeah.
on houses. There, the shit that they do, Joey. Okay,
Tax
for example,
evasion is a national sport in Greece.
that's
Oh,
but
yeah.
guys,
That's a
this sh-
pattern everywhere that the
but-
tax is fucking high.
But here's the
Yeah.
thing. I said, guys, if what do you expect from any civilization? You expect any government to take taxes to give you basic services. But if the population doesn't pay these taxes, how do you expect to get these services and then blame the government for not giving you these services? When
Yeah.
we're sitting there at my uncle's house, and he's a city planner architect, my cousin's husband. And he says, you see
Yeah.
this entire street? I said, yeah. He goes, 3/4 of these houses shouldn't even be here. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, they're all illegal. I go, what do you mean?
Fuck.
He goes, they're all
What
legally
the
built.
hell?
I go, and? He goes, we pay and you get it built.
Wow.
So here and then here
Jesus
what
Christ.
happens, so once in a while, Joey, you have a politician that comes and says, I'm idealistic. So he goes to the waterfront town of, I don't remember where it was in Sicily. Anyway, a waterfront, beautiful beach resort. Anyway, all these gorgeous homes along the water. They're all illegally built. He has
Mm.
16 houses demolished. Demolished. What do you think happened to him, guys? He had an unfortunate accident.
That okay, yeah.
A similar situation to say this. I've seen, like, my dad, I think, told me this once before, though, as well. I've seen it in Greece where if, let's say, like, again, in my small town of Sitia, like, I remember this, like, because, like, I used to go, like, every summer to visit for, like, a month or so during the summer break in school. Like, I remember seeing this where every time we would go from, like, my small town to, like, the two beaches that we would go to all the time that were a little away, but they were beautiful beaches to go to, I would see a lot of, like, half-finished houses that were stopped. Because they were either illegal, they were built so close to the coast that it would have been a hazard. Like, I saw that a lot in
Fuck.
Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Basically like people just building a house without permit it or anything.
Absolutely, Joey.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But the government is at fault because they make it. For example, I'm in mortgages, right? And I was talking to my other cousin how difficult it is just to get a mortgage to help you pay for a house.
So you
But
go fuck it, I'll build it, right?
exactly. But here's the thing, Joey. Like, how do you expect to advance as a society if you can't even make it easy? I mean, the government, just for economics 101, created the CMHC, which is the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, which allows you to buy a house with less than 20% down, which used to be 25% down, which now you can buy with as little as 5% down. But the government put that into place. Italy, my cousin's been trying to get financing on a house, guys. Would you believe me if I say it's been 3 years? Like,
That's
it's not
ridiculous.
normal. So that's just on a micro level, and that just gives you what they live with or what they have to compete against. So there's no social backing at all. I mean, during this pandemic, that's why the restaurant says, "Hey, it's enough. We're dying here. We're opening, and that's it. I don't give a fuck. We're not waiting for you. You're not helping us."
Kind of remind me what an old Roman historian used to say. I think it was Tacitus, but I'm not sure. He used to say that the more a government is corrupt, the more it regulate.
Oh wow!
I see. Yeah, I see the logic in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, obviously, because if it's too regulated, you just figure out a way to not follow those rules, like building those fucking house, but also like.
Or to sort of emphasize on that point a little bit, corruption can also manifest if the very regulatory bodies themselves are captured by special interests that have an vested interest in, like, for example, the whole issue of like net neutrality in the United States, where the telecom companies like Comcast, who are the most hated, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, and many of those other companies, they have a vested interest in doing certain things, so they try to get people on the FCC and other regulatory bodies that regulate them that to be more favorable to their interests instead of the common good.
Yeah.
So that is another thing that, like, what Luigi and I said in terms of like maybe having smaller governments so that we don't have those bodies to be captured in the first place, or to have. Or again, just to actually have a culture that, one set rule for everyone. That's it. That's all. No special exceptions at all.
Well, when you have the United States democracy basically being imprisoned by these special interest groups, and it still amazes
and the money
me.
in politics.
And the money in politics.
Lobbies,
It still amazes me how such a society could still allow this to happen. It freaks me out. Do they get to the point that these special interest groups have so much power that they're so they've infiltrated politics to the extent that no one would ever dare even try to come up with some legislation to change this law?
Yep. Like, but I guess one of the biggest examples of this is I would say the NRA in terms of the Second Amendment. The NRA is one of the hugest and most well-established interest groups in terms of protecting gun rights. The second, any Democratic president like Joe Biden or before like Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, like I think Bill Clinton should be a very powerful example, because I remember, I think it was in 1993 or 1994 when gun violence at the time was at its absolute peak. And they passed an assault weapons ban back in the day, and when Joe Biden himself was in the Senate, and I think he had some role to play because he was very active on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which has some role to play in terms of like the crafting of certain laws that touch on constitutional issues such as the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. After a certain time in 2003 or 2004, some of those protections in terms of preventing people from purchasing certain assault weapon like guns phased out because of pressure from groups like the NRA. Or another issue that comes up a lot is the issue of abortion in the United States, where on one hand, on the pro-choice front, you have Planned Parenthood, but on the other hand, in terms of being the pro-lifers, you have some of the other groups like the National Right to Life, or some of the other groups that are influencing people on both sides of the aisle, instead of having a middle ground issue or middle ground position that more people can
Yeah,
more
like
willingly
a real
support.
debate about it.
Yeah,
Instead of being fucking babies and calling people baby killers or stick in the ass old Joe or something like that. But
yeah,
I do feel like the abortion issues in the United States kind of feels like that language debate we're having here.
yeah.
Like it's a
There's never
it's a
there's
non-issue. Any fucking asshole can have an opinion out of it, and it serves no purpose because let's say you want to present yourself as, let's say, city councilor, like they will even ask you that dumb question, even though you can do fuck all about it.
What's your view on abortion? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I can't do
yeah.
anything about it. It's a
Look,
fucking federal
look,
thing.
look.
It- it-
You can have a position, and this is where again, if you remember the first time when I was with you, Joey, the reason why
Yeah,
I had my Tulsi Gabbard T-shirt on,
love her.
and she actually said she's the best. Like, and also I heard she's starting a podcast
Yes,
soon.
she confirmed it to Joe Rogan.
oh nice.
Yeah. So this is what I love about Tulsi Gabbard, and like where a lot of people should understand. Tulsi Gabbard outed herself or came out of the closet in terms of saying, I'm personally pro-life. She
That's
said
cool.
that. She's personally pro-life, but she said she did not feel comfortable using the power of government, her position as a former member of the House of Representatives, or if, let's say, she would have become president, which again, that would have been the best alternate reality, or like, in terms of a multi-universe theory, that would have been the best universe if Tulsi Gabbard would have been president now. She would have been the best on a lot of fronts. The fact that she said that, yeah, I'm pro-life, but I don't feel comfortable using the power of government to impose my view of things as long as there's equality across the board, like that is the ideal world that we should try to fight for.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
A
Like I do
politician would.
feel, yeah, her position is really good, but there's another thing I noticed in what you said. It's
Yeah, tell me.
like yeah, like since Tulsi Gabbard, you should take like advice from her, like and start your own fucking podcast.
I knew it. I knew it. You asshole.
Listen, Nick.
Thank you.
Me and Joey are Joe Rogan, and you're Tulsi the Gabbard. Well, start your own show. Come on, man.
Yeah,
We'll help you out, bro. We'll help you out.
yeah, for sure.
It's a compliment, man. It's a compliment.
Like
But,
the dirty nation, the dirty army has been asking us to ask you to start a podcast.
There
Really,
you go.
Elsan, I said, and Luigi, maybe you didn't follow that, but Elsan was like, "Oh, but do a bi-weekly. It's fine. Like every 2 weeks." And then, like the third time, like we had Nikos, or Nikos said something on the chat. He was like, "Yeah, you can do it once a month, no problem." So he's trying to bargain him to do an hour.
There you
Something
go.
like
There you go. Once a month, bro. Start with once a month. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's a compliment. But
I take it as
go
a
ahead.
compliment, but again, I don't have
You
it in
can-
me.
You
I don't-
have it in you. What the fuck?
Look at Melanie.
Melanie,
Oh, God.
she got mad
And I
at you.
got mad. I almost want to have her on just to roast you to start a podcast.
Well-
No.
Yes, yes, yes.
Tom said something great. The Big Short is such a good movie about the corruption that you're talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, if
the
you
end
guys,
of the movie.
I mean, this
The-
is classic, right? Wall Street, just the Wall Street.
Yeah.
And
But-
you know what is the worst about all that is that none of those guys, nobody went to jail and nobody paid the price.
Yeah.
For like basically doing fraud. Like the whole thing. What was interesting with the whole thing that happened with GameStop, like the short sellers and everything, they had
Yeah.
a bad
Yeah.
press about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you guys need to notice that short sellers are not a bad guy. Like when you do it properly, you can discover that kind of shit happening. Like my favorite scene is when Steve Carell went into that strip club, and there were that strippers that had like 4 houses and a
Yes.
condo,
Yes.
and then you see him like taking off, running in the street, being like, "It's a fucking bubble."
Yeah. And you're totally right. So who's to blame, right, guys? It's definitely the system that's in place. Because,
Yeah.
guys, these instruments that were being used, right? Imagine there was such huge institutionalized investors that lost, like Iceland, the country Iceland was on the brink of bankruptcy because of what
Yeah.
happened
I
In
remember
2000,
that.
I
United
remember.
States. Okay.
I
Yeah,
remember.
they
I
voted to
remember.
give a boot to the whole government.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I
meanwhile in the
remember.
States, guys, this is a great story. Okay, being a longtime banker. A few years back, Wells Fargo was um, investigated for opening up credit cards and bank accounts for clients that never wanted them. Okay,
Wow.
so here's the reality.
That's not right.
Wow.
Having
It's
worked in a bank, and I
it's
still
pretty
do.
close to rape, actually.
Yeah. So having worked in a bank for 26 years now, I started, I was 19, 20, going on my 27th year. Okay. Now I'm in a different position, luckily. But I remember when I was working in the branch and how much pressure you have in terms of objectives. So basically, the employees didn't know what to do anymore. So they would open up credit cards and credit clients for clients that they were meeting for other stuff and just would open
Wow.
it. And then, yeah, it obviously got to a point that people started noticing.
Of
Who,
course.
and obviously, this comes from obviously the CEO that needs to keep those unrealistic objectives and numbers going for the shareholders, and then all the managers below it. But who do you think paid the price, right? A
It's
few
ridiculous.
managers here and there and employees, as if they're
Yeah.
fucking to blame. It's just you got mom and pop shop, little Joe Blow, Luigi Costanza with a $50,000 or $40,000 a year, and I need to sell 100 Mastercards per year or open up 100 cards a year, which is unrealistic, right? Because they were saying that they needed to open 6 to 7 credit facilities per day. Guys, I don't even do that in a week.
Oh,
Okay?
Tom say something really interesting. He say that finance is complicated by design. I
Yes,
believe specifically to enable fraud, but
absolutely.
actually, some of the term they use, they use like terminology that make no fucking sense. Like
Uh,
everybody, like if you just like there's some word that if you just use a common word that other people use, like they
For,
like a negative capital, you're
yeah,
fucking broke.
or
Everybody understand what's being broke, right?
yeah.
or like I think another example. I remember seeing this a little while ago. Like I think like credit default swaps in the United States. I
Yes.
think also
Yeah,
derivatives
Yeah.
was another issue, and I'm like, what is this
Bunch
stuff?
of bullshit. That's what it is, Nicholas. And
bullshit
Tom,
terms.
you
Yeah.
Like
hit the
what?
nail on the head,
Mm,
Tom. Thank you. It
yeah,
is
exactly.
complicated. It's complicated by design. It's exactly that.
Like
But
I this is
again, like
if
the bankers, the Wall Street thing, like I'm not necessarily blaming the system, like the thing they were doing together, but what I'm blaming is still the government because again, like you're supposed to be punishing them. That's the reason why we're paying taxes. So if somebody do something stupid, you punish them, but you
yeah,
enable them. You keep
yeah,
enabling these guys, and none of them got punished.
No,
yeah.
nobody.
This is the
Nobody till this day.
this is the
Yeah.
reason why, and this is what I just thought of right now. This is the reason why a lot of people are liking what Elon Musk said on the issue of like corporate governance. Like instead of like get your ass out of constant meetings,
Yeah.
constant focus on financials, and actually focus like get yourself onto the production floor or with your people and actually see what's going on and focus on just building a good product. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Everything else will fall into place.
The problem is,
Like,
Nick, when
Exactly.
there's no product involved and when the product is a financial
yeah,
instrument. Okay, this is how I see it, guys. Let's. I'm gonna put it down in layman's terms, and I've always said this. Okay, having been
uh-huh,
the problem with honestly is shareholders.
Mhm.
Okay,
yeah,
because they hold us all prisoners, and every company shareholders hold all of us prisoners. Why? Because think about how simplistic this is. You have a company, and every year you meet your objectives. The next year it goes up. The
Yeah.
next year it goes up. The next year it goes up. Guys, exponential growth does not exist. So somewhere down that line, people are going to start lying and cheating to keep
Yeah.
their jobs. It's very
Exactly.
fucking simple. A company cannot grow at a certain level every year, year after year for 20, 30, 40
impossible.
years. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Even if you build a new shit that people likes, at some point everybody will have that fucking shit. So that's why you end up like with overconsumption and like people like those new phones that get out every years, but you could just skip 3 fucking years and you'd be
That's
fine.
perfect.
Yep.
And then what does that lead to? It leads to, and I'm not being a tree hugger here, but
No,
this
but it leads to
overconsumption,
pollution. Yeah.
it leads to the destruction of our planet because I
No,
gotta have my new
basically.
iPhone every year,
Yeah,
Yep.
and
yeah, basically.
that's all back related to Wall Street, guys. It really is.
Yeah. And
It's
saying
not.
all that, I'm thinking about buying actions.
It's
I
not.
well, there's still money to be made there, so
Well,
why the
there
fuck
is,
not?
but guys, my point is that I've always said from a young age, I said this is not normal. This is not
Yeah.
right. This is not realistic. It's not
Yeah.
realistic.
Oh, there's a
If
lot
I,
of economic teachers that while teaching it, they don't think about it. But some like there were one. He was trying to teach currency, and then he start like listening to himself giving that course, and it's like that shit doesn't work.
yeah,
Why the
Yeah.
fuck it works? That makes no
Yeah.
sense.
it
Yeah.
could be summed up perfectly
Yeah.
from like Tom said. It's complicated by design, guys. I've been in it for so long, and the shit I've seen, and right, because like it goes back to saying you can't make your product any better, right? You can't make a credit card better. You can't make
Yeah.
a loan better. You can't. So when you're dealing in services, you're gonna have to lie every year, and there's always gonna be people
Yeah.
that are gonna be paying the price, and it's always the employees down the line,
Yeah,
right?
or
Rather it be
like
the opposite.
putting out of the production line a really shitty product just for the sake of having a new product that year that people's gonna buy.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh. Oh. Oh, what a shit show. Oh, what a
I,
shit
I,
show.
I love Cyberpunk. I love the lore. I just bought myself because I'm a geek. Also, I've bought myself the core rule book from Cyberpunk Red, and I'm a fan of the lore. But fuck, man, that game is broken. It's fucking broken.
So
Mm.
I'm not a gamer, so I'm assuming that they came up with a new version and it just sucks.
Let me explain. Let me explain.
Okay.
So, what cyberpunk is sort of like a futuristic, like a futuristic world where like people are, for example, like cybernetically enhancing themselves. They had Keanu Reeves himself do a lot of promo work for the most recent game.
Actually, he's
Uh,
playing one of the characters. He's playing the role of the rock star Johnny Silverhand.
Cool.
Yeah, like you see, like part of his arm, like most of his arm is completely like robotic. For example, so when they were producing this game, there were a lot of high hopes that were there. And when they released the game itself, Luigi, it was very glitchy. It was very
Yeah.
buggy. You
It still
couldn't
is.
complete certain missions because of how rushed it was.
So I presume
That's-
this rush is just to get it out to market. That's basically
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a CD Project Red. It's a publicly traded. It's a public company, so basically they have shareholders,
There you
and
go.
they needed to push the fucking game out of the gate just
There
there.
you go.
But that's interesting because that's ironic because Cyberpunk it's one of the genre that attack a lot like corporations and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now because of like corporation fuckery, they couldn't finish the fucking game and like put their effort at the right place. So they pushed the game out, and idiots like me buy it, and we're like, it's fucking glitchy. It sucks.
Another example of this sort of, I would say, corporate malfeasance or just like disregard is what happened with Blizzard. Like, you remember what happened with Blizzard?
Oh,
Joey, where,
yeah.
like let me explain, Luigi, again. So
Another
Blizzard,
game.
well,
It's a
Blizzard
game
is
company.
it's a
Okay.
game company responsible for like Warcraft,
Yeah.
StarCraft, Diablo.
Yeah.
I think League of Legends as well. No.
I'm not sure. I'm going to check it out.
Are these games that highly immerse, like you actually become the characters? Okay. So,
Well,
all right.
that's more World of Warcraft, where you develop your own character, like you'd be a druid or wizard or an orc, and you're just collecting items, questing, stuff like that. Blizzard Entertainment, like they had a reputation for creating like well done games. Like I still to this day, and let me just show people right here. Like I still to this day play the original StarCraft. Like I
Oh,
have the
shit.
original. Like I still have the
Dude,
original.
you're the
disc.
real deal. You're the
Yeah.
real
He is,
deal.
man. That's
You want
United.
you want to see this? Do you want to see this, Joey? Look at this. The original Warcraft 1 disc MS DOS.
MS DOS. Holy shit! I didn't saw that since fucking elementary school.
That's
So,
why. That's why he doesn't
that's-
have time to play to have a podcast. That's why.
Yeah, yes, that's the problem. He
Yeah.
plays too much video
Yeah.
games.
exactly. So
Your
getting back to my point.
addictions is taking your excellence from this world. Your
le- le-
addictions is hurting North America. We need you.
You see,
okay,
Nick?
okay,
All right.
okay.
We're
Let me
having
just get back to
no.
let
We're
me
gonna
get
have an
back.
intervention live on air right now.
There you go.
No,
No, no, no,
I'm
no,
fucking
no,
Your
with
no,
you.
addiction makes me cry inside
no,
because I'm a guy. I don't cry, but makes me cry inside.
Toxic
no,
masculinity.
It's
no.
not toxic. I'm not laughing at anybody crying.
Cry, bro.
Now,
Cry. Cry.
fuck off.
No, 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 no.
All right, Nick.
Um,
All right.
come on, come on. Let's
All right.
focus
All
on
right. All right.
let's focus on the issue on hand. So,
Cool.
so Blizzard was caught, like the NBA, for example, where we all know what's going on in China in terms of like the Uyghur genocide, in terms of
Hong
other things,
Kong,
Hong Kong and Macau.
Taiwan, trying to isolate politically Taiwan.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah,
And we have a lot of companies right now that have to make the decision. Do we either attempt to appeal to the largest market on earth and we have to compromise a few things, or do we actually make a political stand and say, hey, we're not going to do this? This happened a lot with the NBA. Like LeBron James, I think, got caught up into it.
yeah,
Blizzard got caught into it because they're trying to aggressively pursue the market there in terms of like people like again like young folks like myself and Joey playing like again StarCraft 2 or World of Warcraft and other games.
I played none of this shit, but okay, I'm still following.
No, just to provide an example
Yeah.
where another example is like the video game platform called Steam. Like Steam is another platform where
Yeah.
one Luigi can buy not just locally made games but like big games as well. Like for example, on my Steam account I'm able to play like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, like old Star Wars games on it. So like many of these companies, when they have to enter into China, they have to do it while like aggressively modifying their like the applications, like China only applications where like a lot of things are censored or no longer there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that is another
Movies
element.
also they do that.
Funny enough, and this is where I'm gonna like I would say call out Disney, for example. They say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter." Well, John Boyega, who is the actor who played Finn, the First Order stormtrooper, who then became a hero to the Resistance in the sequel trilogy. When you see a comparison of the posters, like a regular poster in Canada, the US, Finn is featured prominently because he is one of the main characters alongside
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac and Rey. While when they're doing those posters for China, Finn is so much more reduced in terms of his size compared to the other characters like Kylo Ren and Rey because he's black. So it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
But they
just
don't
to
have-
appease a racist country. Okay.
But they don't have black people in China.
That or they just don't like it.
Exactly, because they
Ah,
are
I
racist.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
possible.
simple.
Yeah,
Very
but like in East Asia, people are fucking racist. Like even amongst themselves, when
Yep.
for us they all look the same. So let's fucking face it. Like we can't, like most people I know cannot make the difference between a Japanese, a Korean, and a Chinese. But he gets super upset when you mix them like together. If you
Yeah.
call a Korean a Chinese, he gets super fucking mad. A Chinese, you call him a Japanese, gets super
Yeah.
pissed. Yeah. It's
It's
fucking
incredible
crazy.
how this becomes ingrained in you, eh? And that, same thing, like, for example, when I go to Italy, oh, the American arrived, right?
Yeah.
"Nah, guys, I'm Canadian, relax there, but so just that,
I'm
Yeah.
an American with
Yeah.
free healthcare. That's
yeah,
basically it.
exactly. That
Yeah.
that notion of nationality, like I said to you, Nicholas, like, think about it. What is a border?
Yeah.
A border is an artificial line
Yeah.
on a map,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What makes me Canadian? What makes you Canadian? What makes me American? What makes you American? And vice versa, anywhere else in Europe or Asia or whatever. It's just amazing how we're so ingrained in our minds and in society of I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a that, and
All
that.
this should change. Like what it means to be French, for example, in France, that it's so
Exactly.
different than
It's no
what
longer
it was in the 80s.
it's the issue of, I would say, nationality and race. Before there was, I would say, an ethnic notion
Yeah.
or a sort of ethnic nationalism that was largely cast aside because we all saw what happened when it's taken to its extreme in the Second World War with Germany,
Yeah.
to a far lesser extent in Italy and elsewhere, like all countries around the world. Even Greece had its own fascist regime in Ioannis Metaxas, for example, and other countries like Francisco Franco in Spain and his nationalist government. So after what happened and after that, I would say, trauma that occurred, that sort of ethnic nationalism was sort of cast aside, and now there's a more of a civil nationalism where, as long as you adhere to, like, you speak our language, you adhere to our values as a country, you can consider yourself as a French person, even though you're not ethnically French or like a white French person.
But
so
they have
that is where.
Yeah, that's a great point. But they have no choice but to accept that, right? You look at the example here in Quebec. Quebecers, the ones that are wanted to, protect the culture and the language. And obviously, a large part of that culture is based on the language. But obviously, they're going to bring in immigrants that speak French already, right? Or they're going to speak French or come from French-speaking languages. But do they really adhere to the culture? Do they really care about the culture and the history of Quebec? And that's what I said. So right? You're here. You're like, pick your poison.
The French from France are the worst offender on this. Like, they always say, "Oh, in my country, we don't do it like that." Well, tough shit, Buttercup, because you're not in your fucking country.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, the French and their immigrant and the problems they have should be the last ones to talk.
Worst of them all.
Yeah. They should be the last ones to talk. So what I'm saying is that's why it's made me rethink about this lately, this whole nationalism, because countries, our birth rate's too low. So a lot of countries are forced to have immigration and in terms of being, in terms of looking at growth. So, and that does it come at the expense? Are you really going to keep your culture or language? Like you said, they just do it because they have to, and they're living here for a better life, not because they necessarily want to.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so do you guys have any more left in the tank, or you're ready to close it right now?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
You, Nicholas.
So, you, Nicholas.
Kind of have to have dinner with the parents in about, let's say, 20 minutes, and of course, like, my parents are the only people that I see on a regular basis given my living situation, so I gotta preserve what I got, right?
Go. Absolutely.
So we'll close it right now. So on Peter saying that Japanese are subhuman.
Right. I hope one day to visit Japan, because they just opened up that Super Nintendo World theme park, and I'm all for it.
Oh,
man,
you're hilarious.
I was sure that was for something like that.
No.
The perfect evolution of beer. Thanks, man. That's true. It's fucking hilarious. It's like those fucking evolution, and then which level can cool beer. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Actually,
all right. So 1 hour 22 minutes. I didn't make any pedophile jokes. I feel pretty proud of myself. Nikos,
bravo, Joey.
I feel proud of myself. All right, Nikos. So if we want to find your stuff, where can we find it?
Well, I finally now have Instagram, so you can follow me on Captain YOLO 562. You'll find, well, for now, I'm only posting maybe funny photos of like breakfast or like video games and other stuff for now. Though, if I make the decision to do a sort of podcast type scenario, I may decide to do little videos. Like, I think they call them Instagram Reels. I'm still very new to the Instagram world, so like either Instagram videos or I go live. Like, do something like what the lovely Melanie Asaf does, in terms of like, she posts most of her stuff for her Montreal 101 and like her other very wonderful show on the issue of the LGBT community there on Instagram. So if I make the decision to do so, and it's an if, I'm not saying no. It is very unwise to say no when there's always a possibility.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There may be a chance to start finally a podcast.
There may or may not be a chance, but if I make that decision to do so, I think, like, I would say the infrastructure to start it is relatively easy to do so, either on Instagram. Though Facebook, I don't have like a page. I just have like my I would say my profile. I wouldn't start it on a profile. I would start an actual page. But if again, just to wrap up, I would say I would probably start it on Instagram.
We're gonna
There,
help.
just
We're
to
gonna
do a
help.
live.
We're gonna
All
help.
right.
Trust me, Nick.
Yeah. We're here to help you if you need to start a podcast
Yes,
anytime, man.
that's how fond we are of you.
Maybe
Melanie,
we should start just a
Melanie,
thing like you
I'm
should
not.
start something together, and then that will kind of like give him like the urge to talk to people.
Talk. This is therapy, Nicholas. Come
Yeah.
on, bro.
Yeah. What happened? What happened in your childhood? What your mother did to
Tell
you?
us. Were you dropped on your head?
Obviously not, because he's well spoken and really
True.
smart. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
If he told us that he voted like liberals in the last 2 elections, maybe.
I
But
question his sanity.
yeah,
No.
there you go.
20,
Okay,
20,
so
2015, yes. 2019, I'm not saying who I voted for.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
popular party. Okay, so You're racist.
Agreed.
Okay, so Luigi, if
Yes.
there you go. Luigi, if we want to see more of you, where can we find you?
Very simple. At Agree to Disagree show on Facebook and what else? And Instagram, same thing, same handle. Agree to Disagree show, and of course, Agree to Disagree show podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts.
Awesome. So we're pretty fucking close of getting at that point with the Dirty Four. So don't forget that every Tuesday we're having the Dirty Sanchez, which is a Franglish podcast, Franglish podcast, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, every time I do a French podcast, I give like a Spanish name. I don't know why. It's a fetish of mine.
Los Tabornai. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that one too. Also, on the Saturday, well, every Saturday afternoon, where I have this podcast with different guests. So today that was with you, Political Geek. Next week, I don't know. That might be another field of expertise. Peter has his own MMA podcast. Don't miss it. It's on every Friday. If you miss all of that, that's fine. We won't hold it against you. But please don't miss tomorrow podcast, because tomorrow we're having it's the Mothership. We're having Brittany Disdale, which is, I think, an actress. I should fucking read my notes sometime.
She is an actress. Claudio
She's an actress. Okay, Claudio is yelling in the chat. Hey, she's an actress.
Oh,
Okay,
fuck's wrong with you?
also,
Way!
and usually we don't do that, but on Saturday night, 10:15 p.m., we're having the comedy producer Sid Coular. So please tune in. If you didn't already subscribe, share, and everything, so I don't get sick and tired of doing this shit. And on that, have a good one, folks.